My reflection smiled at me, but I wasn't smiling. I stood in front of the mirror, fixing my hair, but my reflection smiled, while my face stayed still. Then, slowly, it raised its hand, held its own neck, and smiled even wider. In the old house my grandmother left to me, there were many things that I didn't like, from the creaking floorboards to the cobwebs hanging from every corner, but the one thing that truly unsettled me was the antique mirror in the hallway. It had an ornate gold frame that looked like it would cost a fortune, but the mirror itself was cheap glass, the kind that wouldn't even reflect your image if you held it sideways. Still, when I walked past it, I could see myself walking past. My reflection stared back with vacant eyes, never blinking, never moving. Even when I turned around and stared directly at it, trying to break the spell, it just kept staring back. At first, I tried to convince myself that it was just a trick of the light, or some weird optical illusion, but after a week of seeing my lifeless reflection mocking me, I decided to do something about it. My friends thought it was hilarious. They came over one night, got drunk, and we took turns smashing bottles against the mirror. But no matter how many shards I saw fall away, no matter how much blood stained the carpet beneath, my reflection kept smiling at me from behind the broken glass. And then one day, I found the key to solving the mystery. It was an old library book, bound in leather, and filled with yellowed pages. It was called The Book of the Corpse Mirror, and it spoke of an ancient ritual that could trap the soul of a living person inside an enchanted mirror, using their own life force to stay alive. The only way to escape, it said, was to destroy the mirror with moonlight and bury it under the roots of an oak tree before sunrise. With shaking hands, I did as the book instructed. I dragged the mirror into the backyard, where an old oak stood draped in Spanish moss. I waited until the full moon hung heavy in the night sky, then swung a sledgehammer again and again, each swing fueled by terror and despair. As the first rays of sunlight peeked over the horizon, I dug a hole and buried the mirror under the oak tree. And finally, as the book predicted, my reflection disappeared. But now there was another problem. The book hadn't mentioned what would happen to the corpse inside the mirror once it was destroyed. What would happen to him? Would he just vanish, or would he come after me? To get answers, I went back to the library, searching for more books on mirrors and magic, hoping to find a way to put my reflection back. But instead, I found something else, something terrible. It was a diary, bound in human skin, its pages filled with spidery handwriting detailing dark rituals and unspeakable acts. And as I read through it, I realized with growing horror that the very mirror I had destroyed belonged to a serial killer who had used it to trap the souls of his victims. He had lured them to his home, held their souls in the mirror, and then I couldn't bring myself to read any further. Then I heard a voice behind me, looking for this. A tall, gaunt man with eyes like burning coals held up a small, tarnished mirror. He smiled, and it was a smile that promised pain and death. In that moment, I understood. This was the killer, the one whose soul had been trapped in the mirror all those years ago. And now he was free. Now, every night, I hear scratching at my window, and when I turn around, there he is, smiling, holding his own neck, wanting me to join him in his eternal torment. But now I can't. Now I have to run. If you enjoyed this horror story, please consider subscribing for more terrifying tales. Thanks for watching.